so disgusted with her behavior, her lack of respect. Jimmy needs to step up and be involved and take stock in what's going on around.
Despite the fact that we have witnessed Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones go through it for years, drama after drama, nobody saw this coming. Reports indicate that Jim's own son, Joseph, finally had enough of Chrissy and did not hold back. Before you think that this was just a reaction that occurred in the heat of the moment, sources say that this was something that had been building up for a rather considerable amount of time. Joseph wasn't just reacting to a single argument, this was the culmination of years of frustration all at once. However, what was it that really drove him over the edge? And why did Jim just let it happen?
Pressure for you and Chrissy to get officially married.
No. You married?
I'm not married.
Your mama married?
My mother wasn't married either.
All right, then. So that should answer your question. Why you worried about me getting married?
I knew you was gonna come with it, Jim. I knew you was gonna come with it, but as a female, I still had to ask the question.
You're talking to me about something that you haven't fulfilled or your mama hasn't fulfilled. So you should be worried about what's going on in my house. You should try to figure out what's going on in yours.
Okay, but as a fan watching the relationship on television, that is something that fans, we always kind of have that question.
As a fan, you fans need to turn around and see if your mama's married or if your father's married. That's what you fans need to do. And if that's not going on in your household, you fans shouldn't ask me any questions. You dig? I'm only letting people that has grown up in a household that's married, mother and father, and if you are in a marriage.
The relationship between Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin has been nothing short of a long and tumultuous roller coaster ride. Although they have been together for more than a decade, their history has always been more about drama than stability. Beginning with the very beginning, commitment has been a significant problem. Despite Chrissy's desire to get married, Jim never appeared to be ready to make the commitment official. Those who are fans of Love and Hip Hop will remember the time in 2011 when Chrissy took charge of the situation and proposed to Jim by herself. It was a clear sign that Jim wasn't fully committed. Even after he eventually proposed, there was still no wedding. At the time, it seemed like a bold move. However, looking back, it appeared to be a clear indication that Jim wasn't fully committed. The engagement continued for an interminable amount of time, and as time passed, it became abundantly clear that Jim was not going to walk down the aisle. On top of that, rumors of infidelity have always been a dark cloud over their relationship. Both Jim and Chrissy have been accused of stepping out of their relationship, and their trust issues have been played out in public. In spite of the fact that fans viewed it as merely another unhealthy celebrity relationship, there was one person who was observing everything from a close distance: Jim's son, Joseph. He lived through the late-night arguments, the broken promises, and the never-ending cycle of drama, and over the course of time, it altered the way that Joseph viewed Chrissy. Joseph did not simply see the headlines. It was not enough for him to consider her to be his father's longtime partner. She was also a contributor to the issue. It was clear that Joseph had issues with Chrissy behind the scenes. He reportedly never saw her as a stepmother figure and kept his distance from her. However, things recently escalated in a way that no one expected, and Joseph decided that he could no longer keep his opinions to himself.
They are saying that apparently after Jim Jones and Chrissy broke up, which a lot of people didn't even know they broke up, now he's married or engaged to Brooke Bailey. There's a lot to the story. Let's talk about it. First of all, let's take it back to Jim Jones and Chrissy being together and breaking up, okay? So, people didn't know that these two had broken up because they literally were together for like 20-something years. If you know anything about Chrissy Lampkin is a gangster chick. She used to go with Alpo. Y'all know the movie Paid in Full? She was one of the dudes that the story is based off of, Main Girl in New York back in the day.
Let me tell you guys something. This is the craziest viral that I've ever been in my whole entire life, because I wake up one day, I do my whole routine, read my devotionals and positive stuff, and then I go on my Instagram and I see fake pages you took Jim, and I'm like, I didn't block the page. I said, who is Jim? Because I'm single, so I'm like, who is Jim? You know what I'm saying?
As a result, he decided that he could no longer keep his silence. In the end, what was it that caused Joseph to blow his top? Chrissy confronted Jim about allegations that he was tampering with Love and Hip Hop star Brooke Bailey, according to reports. This was the beginning of everything that transpired. The fact that Jim is rumored to be involved with another woman is not exactly shocking. He has been the subject of rumors similar to this one for years, but this time it struck him in a different way. The situation quickly escalated into a heated argument when Chrissy confronted Jim at their home, according to sources. Chrissy had already become frustrated with the years of uncertainty that she had been experiencing. During the time that everything was taking place, Joseph was present, and for the very first time, he publicly questioned Chrissy's function in his father's life.
If you didn't leave me to figure it all out by myself, then maybe I can process it a little different. But because I have to deal with it by myself most of the time, this is what you get. I need a break from this.
This was not just a single incident, rather it was the culmination of years of frustration that had been building up. According to reports, he went ahead and told Chrissy in no uncertain terms that she was not a member of his family, that she had overstayed her welcome, and that she was a contributing factor to the fact that Jim's life was in a state of constant chaos. It is said that Joseph was not only causing his father to feel offended, but he was also making it abundantly clear that he was finished with her. The situation, however, took a significant turn at this point. The next thing that Joseph did left everyone in a state of disbelief. He did not simply stop at words. While the argument between Chrissy and Jim was getting more heated, Joseph was right there watching the same cycle play out once more. However, this time, he wasn't just a spectator, he was actively participating in the conflict. Immediately after Joseph stepped in, Chrissy reportedly fired him and told him to stay out of grown folks' business. This information comes from sources. It was at that moment that things took a serious turn. Joseph was no longer a child, and he was not going to sit back and allow Chrissy to dictate the situation. That was the moment, according to those who were close to the situation, when Joseph lost his cool. Years of frustration that had been building up came pouring out, and he made Chrissy aware of how he experienced everything. According to reports, he conveyed to her that she was no longer welcome in their family, that she had brought nothing but drama into his father's life, and that it was time for her to leave for good. But then things became physical. Witnesses claimed that Joseph slapped Chrissy and demanded that she leave their house. Chrissy was subsequently forced to leave. Things are about to get even more interesting if you continue reading. Jim did not intervene, and he did not make any attempt to stop it. He did not defend himself. Despite the fact that Chrissy did not utter a single word in an effort to de-escalate the situation, despite the fact that Jim has always been caught between his son and Chrissy, his lack of reaction in this particular moment seemed to say a lot about the situation. While there are those who believe that he was secretly on Joseph's side and that he may have even seen this coming, there are others who believe that Jim was simply too overwhelmed to participate in the conflict. Regardless of the circumstances, the fact that he did not put a stop to it was a significant statement. Chrissy was taken aback. She had been by Jim's side for more than a decade, fighting for this relationship and even enduring years of uncertainty. However, in this very moment, she came to the realization that she might not have the support she believed she had, and then, all of a sudden, she was gone. According to the reports, Chrissy left the house feeling humiliated, and not in the way that an "I'll be back tomorrow" kind of way would have been. This time it felt different. What she was doing was not simply storming out of a fight. Rather, she was walking away from a situation that had completely collapsed beneath her feet.
Watching a lot of you trappers and you hustlers and you niggas that's running around doing God knows what, and you all got this. You heard? But this got 24-hour surveillance. You heard? Inside and outside the vehicle. You busting.
For many years, she remained steadfast in the belief that her loyalty to Jim would ensure her position. However, after this, it became abundantly clear that she was not as untouchable as she had believed she was. On the other hand, Joseph did not appear to have any regrets about what he had done. In fact, according to some sources, he later justified his actions by stating to members of his immediate family that he was merely offering his father protection. From his point of view, Chrissy had done nothing but bring chaos into Jim's life, and he believed that it was finally time to put an end to it. The thing is, there were some people who agreed with him on this point. There had been a great deal of tension between Chrissy and Jim's family over the years, particularly with Jim's mother, Nancy Jones. This was not the first time that Chrissy had come into conflict with Jim's family. Chrissy was never completely accepted by Nancy, and the two of them had even more than their fair share of heated arguments. There are those who believe that this was merely another chapter in the lengthy conflict that has been going on between Chrissy and Jim's family. However, this time it was Joseph who was leading the charge, rather than Nancy. Now that Chrissy has left, the most important question arises. Will she make an effort to return? Because at precisely the moment when people believed that this was the final chapter in her life, new information emerged that completely altered the course of events. The reason for Joseph's reaction was not limited to this one explosive night. Rather, it had been building up for years previously. According to those who were close to the family, he has been having problems with Chrissy for a considerable amount of time, and this incident happened to be the final straw. According to the reports, one of the most significant factors contributing to Joseph's frustration was the influence that Chrissy had over Jim's financial situation. According to the allegations, Chrissy had attempted to exert control over Jim's financial and business decisions, frequently directing him away from opportunities or causing him to make decisions that were more advantageous to her than to him. According to some sources, Chrissy was successful in persuading Jim to decline business opportunities that could have been beneficial to his financial situation. On the other hand, other sources believe that she exerted pressure on him to spend money in ways that were not always prudent. From Joseph's point of view, this was not just about a relationship, rather, it was about the health and happiness of his father, and he was not the only one who felt this way. She has never been shy about her opinions on Chrissy. Over the years, she has openly criticized her, questioned her intentions, and called her out for not bringing enough to the relationship. Jim's mother, Mama Jones, has never been shy about her opinions on Chrissy. As a result of their tension being exposed in public on Love and Hip Hop, fans have witnessed the extent to which their problems are rooted. The belief that Chrissy was not the appropriate woman for Jim has been held by Mama Jones for a long time, and she has expressed on multiple occasions that she does not trust her. In light of this, some individuals hypothesize that Joseph's decision to finally confront Chrissy was motivated solely by the resentment that had been building up within the family for a number of years. After considering all of this information, there are those who speculate that Jim may have been experiencing the same emotions, but he simply did not want to be the one to end the relationship. Was it possible that Joseph had just done what Jim had been secretly hoping to do all along? The circumstances give rise to a more significant inquiry. Was Chrissy's influence on Jim truly that detrimental, or was she merely an easy target for the family's frustrations? On the one hand, Chrissy's decision to leave the house in humiliation appears to be a clear sign that things are over. However, let's be honest, this is not the first time that Jim and Chrissy have had major relationship problems. So where does this leave Jim and Chrissy? The difference now is that Joseph is involved, and if Jim decides to support his son, that could be the single most important factor in determining the outcome of the situation. The most important question is whether Jim will make an effort to mend fences with Chrissy, or whether he will finally come to terms with the fact that their relationship has reached its conclusion. There are some fans who believe that this is the end. Chrissy is no longer going to be seen. Some people believe that Jim might make an effort to make things better, particularly when taking into consideration everything that they have already been through together. An individual made the observation, Joseph had every right to speak his mind. He has watched this drama play out for years, and if Jim won't step up, somebody has to. Chrissy believed that she was untouchable, but Jim's own son put her in her place. This is another piece of information that was added. Even if the family never accepted her after all these years, it is possible that she was never meant to be there. However, there is one thing that is certain. This circumstance has left a great deal of questions which have not been answered. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think Joseph's intervention was appropriate, or did he go too far with it? Tell me about it in the comment section.